Did you mind praying? Good morning, everybody. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we're just coming to you today to ask you to watch over this meeting of our commission. Be with all our citizens of the county as they go about their lives throughout the week. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, good morning, everybody. I will make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from last week.
I'll second that motion.
Motion been moving, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion, we pay the claims in the amount of $745,318.36.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been moving, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
If you notice on those claims, that debt service amount, the 302 in there is, that's the interest on our bonds. Technically, it says it's due January 1st, but they always want that 20 days ahead of time. So we would have to go ahead and get it ready to go.
Dave, did you get anything else right off the bat?
No.
All right, MMR.
Good morning, Don Brooks with AMR for the ambulance report for November. Blue Mound had 9 calls, 2 transports. Centerville, 10 calls, 4 transports. Lacine, 30 calls, 15 transports. Fontana, 5 calls, 3 transports. Linn Valley, 7 calls, 4 transports. Mound City, 24 calls, 12 transports. Parker, 17 calls, 9 transports. Pleasanton, 43 calls, 20 transports. Prescott, 7 calls, 4 transports, for a total of 150 calls and 73 transports in November. Anything else?
I don't have anything.
Thank you, Don.
Thank
There
you.
you go. Randy?
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Higwell, Linn County Emergency Management and Rural Fire. Let's send out the numbers for last week. We had 11 calls, brings our yearly total up to 501. On the last week's call totals, we had 11 calls. 7 of those were false alarms. So seems like we ran a lot, but a lot of them were false alarms. We had a couple of bad fire alarm systems in the county that kept going off this weekend. So numbers seem high, but we really was not that busy.
How do you deal with those? Like false alarm, fire alarms?
So the ones that we had this weekend, we got paged twice to it, and they paged because it was a building. We went to it, realized that they were having problems there. The people that run the facility realized they were having problems. So after that, I just had dispatch calling me, and I would go en route until they canceled me. Just that way, you never know when the false alarm's
Right.
not a false alarm. So I still wanted somebody to go check it. So I'd go en route, and if I was gone, I'd let Brian know that, hey, at least go head that way when it happened so we could get eyes there.
So when something like that, does the fire marshal have to be notified, or do they have to do any regular maintenance on it? Is that what,
Yeah, they're having a detector problem or something like that. Now, if it was a school or something where this was just kind of a remote facility, I think that's why they have it fire protected. But if it was a school or something like that, then they would have to go into fire watch, and there's other procedures they have to follow where there's people involved. So that is all I have, other than I'd like to ask for 10 minutes of non-elected personnel executive session.
Good.
You guys
Thank
have
you,
anything? Thank you.
I have not received anything from the sheriff yet on numbers. Okay.
That's what I was just looking for. Sean and Jesse around.
I think they're both in there. Chastity's got some stuff, I think, too, so she's there.
If you would, please. Who wants to go first?
Jesse Walton, Operations Director for Linn County Roads. The short week, but we did have blades out all week in every shop, out working on the roads. We still have our lease tractor out mowing. We'll be over the 350 hours this week on that tractor, and then we'll just park it there at the shop and unhook the mower off of it, just so you know we're at that point with that tractor.
And they come get it after that, or how's that work?
Say that again.
They assess it and then we finish out our lease, or how does that work?
So it'll just sit there until the year's up. That's what we're going to do with it, unless we want to pay the overage on the hours if we end up using that tractor.
What was the overage on it?
So it's 1.5 times of what the hourly rate is. So I think it was like 30 something
For
bucks.
the hours we run it over,
Correct.
just for the overage hours?
Correct. So if we end up deciding to use it in the spring and, pay 100 hours extra over till we get back to our lease renewal, we'll have you guys approve that if that's what you want to do when we get to that point. Been working on the 1350 road project, got the ditching started on it so we can start prepping that road. I'm getting ready to lift that road this week so we can put culverts in and get that project moving. Pleasanton shop, we're down to one blade operator in that due to one employee with health issues. So we've taken Franklin and put him back in a blade. So we've got 2 blades running down there to take care of that area. So North shop, blades were out all week, working on the roads. Our mechanics was getting a couple pieces of equipment ready to take out on that 1350 road project for that road. Other than that, that's all I've got, unless you got, 900 road. I did get a hold of Chad McCullough. We sat and visited about it. I don't know if we were able to get that email out to you or not. He said the tubes were not compromised structurally, that their integrity was still good, and that he wants to continue moving forward, but he wants to pour cement from the floor all the way up and then 6 inches on top of the culverts, so it acts like a structural barrier for those culverts, so it'll still keep that integrity of those tubes. And the tubes are against each wall, so they are braced on either side, and then cement from the ground all the way up 6 inches above it to hold it. And I had him.
Concrete.
What's that?
A lot of concrete.
That's a lot of concrete. So I sat down and talked with Sean about that this morning. Financially, when we go through that, it's going to be cheaper to pour cement than to pull tubes and buy new tubes and put back in there.
So what are we gonna do about the one that's about, I don't know how much further it is, higher than the other one end?
So when we talked to Chad about that, he said it's fine. It's not, as long, the way the permit process worked, as long as one tube is at the level of the creek, we're fine. And the way that one is raised up, the foot and a half that it is, he said it's fine where it is. We're still within our permitting, and we'll have cement poured down under there, worked in there, so shouldn't have any water to go under that.
So that's a lot of concrete. How much is that? How many?
It's a lot of, that's a lot of yards of concrete. I don't know how many it's gonna be. But that one thing that I did voice to Sean this morning, that is a concern of mine. That's a lot a lot of concrete to pour in there. But Chad said to do it in lifts, pour so much, then wait a day or two, then pour again and raise that up.
Can we put like a bunch of rubble, like block and rock in there? And
Yeah. Yep, we sure can.
And then keep going up like that?
Yep, we sure can.
That'll save a little bit, I guess. Right?
Yep, that'll or not void, but that'll fill in the void of those spaces as we pour that concrete in.
Could we actually take rock and dump in it? I mean, as far as,
Right, that's what Danny was just saying. We can take some 6-inch riprap and dump in there as we pour the concrete to help fill in that space so we're not pouring as much.
do we have any idea that what we would figure what it will cost before we do this?
What do we have in there now? How many yards?
Oh,
Is it
30.
60? Oh, it's 30?
We've poured 3.5 trucks in there right now. Well,
So 30, 40?
there's 50 yards of flowable fill already poured in there.
I don't know how much is flowable fill, $120?
I think we paid $135 a yard for it.
That's a lot of, well, we're going to need
We're,
more yards.
we're going to need a lot more concrete in there.
Jesse, what was the mitigation possibility of that?
As far as which aspect of it?
The number we can get back as a percentage or something. Whatever we put in, we can get a percentage back, so we can anticipate how much we're spending on this, what percentage we can get back on.
So FEMA told me that when we get our numbers all together on this and we present the 100% amount of what we spent to fix this problem, and then with mitigation to help preventative maintenance on this, that we can go up to almost the full amount of what it cost us to put this in there. So if we don't get our full 100% back on that project, the mitigation part of preventative maintenance on it, we can get money back on that too, as long as we don't exceed the 100% cost of what it's going to cost us to put it in. Now, once they look at all that, they may say, okay, we're going to pay 75% of that, 25% of that is on you. But that's all comes down to when we go through and we get this project all finished and they look at it. So I can't say what our minimum is going to be that we're going to get back on it, but it's looking really good that we're going to get a good percentage of the money back that we're going to put into this project.
What do we have in it right now? Do you know?
I honestly don't know what we have into it.
Sean, do you have an idea?
I would roughly have a ballpark, but I would think you're gonna be tubes and concrete and labor, you're gonna be in for 10, 20.
I thought you had talked to them, we thought around 70 or something.
We had looked at one point at the total being 70. I think you're gonna come in between that 70 and 85.
But that's not with this new concrete price.
But that's what I'm saying. I think you're gonna come in between 70 and 85, but I can't tell you where until we get closer to the end of the project. And how much of that is gonna be reimbursed, I can't answer either, just like Jesse said, until we sit down with them. But a large chunk of that is gonna be reimbursed.
You guys thoughts?
We gotta fix it.
And our on-call engineer, we followed their plans throughout the whole thing.
Yep.
We are paying for the on-call engineer to project manage the project for that purpose, so that it meets not only the permit, but meets the permit and the ability to be reimbursed on.
But it doesn't sound like the project's being managed by the on-call engineer very well. If we're going to spend over another $100,000 in concrete after we've already went through their proposed fixed, and now we're stuck with another $100,000 bill probably.
This has been between the failures and the tube floating. This has been an experience for us with that engineer, but we have followed, and even through Jesse's taking over midstream of the project, we have documented and followed the directions for a reason.
So
So the extra concrete's gonna cost how much, do you think?
I can call up there, whistle, and figure out how much we're going to pay per yard, and we can figure out how many yards it's going to take to fill this in. I honestly think we're going to be even on the money by the time we pour cement, and we'll actually be more money into it if we end up pulling tubes and then just starting from scratch over on this. Because you're going to end up buying 2 new tubes to put in there.
And starting over on
They're
the,
$8,000 a piece per tube.
and tearing out the concrete that's already in there.
Correct.
yeah,
So the total price is estimated at
I figure by the time you're done, you're going to be close to 100,000 on it.
100,000.
Yep. By the time you get your concrete in, you get your dirt in, the man hours that it's going to take to put all this together, paying our on-call engineer, and we may come in cheaper than that. But I think there's a lot of oversight in this that happened on this project.
which wasn't.
I mean, it's no one's fault. Like, there's no one's fault on this. I think there was just some things that got overlooked, and I think there was a lack of overseeing this project as it started from ground up.
But my point is we had a on-call engineer that we've been working with to not let things like that happen.
That is correct.
Which-
And that is
there's always somebody to blame.
right. And that's why I've asked Chad every time I've talked to him, I need this in writing and I need it emailed to me of how you want to proceed. That way it falls on him if there's a failure. That doesn't fall on us, that it's a failure through them supervising this, overseeing this in the way that they want to go about it.
I'm kind of like Vandy. I think there is somebody's at fault somewhere to overseeing, and I'm not saying our guys, but I mean.
Right. And I'm not going to disagree with you there. And that's why I've asked Chad. That's why I've asked Chad to be very specific when he emails procedures to go about this, to put this project together and to get it finished up, because it's not a failure on our end.
Right.
And so you can only do what you can with someone overseeing it to be there. So, and each one of you understand that.
And, and I mean, I feel like that we've done everything that we were proposed to do and with the engineer, and I feel like that, I mean, somebody's got to be responsible for it. I mean, it's,
Correct.
I mean, that's why we have insurance in companies whenever you run a company. So I don't know.
Just know that I'm doing everything I can
No, I
on
know
our
you
end
are. I know you
to make sure that this gets done right, because I'm as frustrated as you guys are with it. We're spending money that I don't think we need to spend to get this project done.
Well, my question is, the engineering firm has probably done this before, and why didn't we take precautions to stop it from floating from their side?
Correct. And I will agree with you on that.
Is there any way we can get, final numbers and cost to date what we have and to finish, and then maybe even get Chad in here to talk?
Yep. We can get a hold of
What
Chad.
I'd like to do, I'd like to get him down here and see what he has to say. I mean, what's another week before?
Right.
We're a year into it. Let's just keep going.
You guys good with that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I am.
Yep.
Let's do that then.
That's all I've got. If you have any.
Have him give a projected cost of, tell us what he thinks it's gonna cost us.
Okay.
And then have him come here and explain it to us.
Yep. Can do. Anything else?
Thank you, Jesse.
Thanks.
Okay.
Good morning.
Morning.
I don't have a whole lot due to the short week, and my injury caused me to be away for a few days. So just a reminder that today we have the lot split hearing at 2 p.m. Darren will be with me with that. And I will be attending the Kansas Association of Counties annual conference this week from Tuesday through Friday. I am gathering information and working on a letter that will hopefully go out before the end of the week in regards to the Historical Society Board that we talked about last week. And then the social manage meeting that I was supposed to have last Wednesday has been rescheduled till Tuesday or Friday at 2 p.m. And then Civic Ready will be here today. So I don't have a ton, but I am asking for 5 minutes of executive session, please.
What's it for? Is it just,
Personal matter.
Non-elected personnel,
I'm sorry?
non-elected
Yes.
personnel.
Thank you.
all right, you guys gonna do it? All right, thank you. Is Sean walking up? I guess if you guys want to, we can go ahead and do the executive session while we're waiting on Sean.
That's fine.
You want to do that?
That's fine with me.
You got what, 15 minutes total?
Yeah.
Yep.
Make a motion to get executive sessions for 15 minutes total, 10 with Randy and 5 with Chastity for non-elected personnel.
I'll second it.
Motion been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
great. How about yours? Nice and quiet, huh?
Yeah, we're good. By the time they got done.
We're good to go.
Yeah.
All right, we had no actions from executive session. Sean?
Sean West, Public Works Administrator. Jesse's already given you the 900 road update. Our salt bid recommendations from last week, we had 2 bids with Kunchek and Central Salt. In looking over those bids, Kunchek was the lowest bid at $70.80 per ton delivered for regular road salt and the hauling. This is for 26.5 tons approximately. You can check my math. That looks to be 1876.20. So I'd ask to go ahead and award Kunchek the salt bid for 70.80 a ton for approximately 26.5 tons at this time.
And that was delivered price, right?
Yes, the hauling was on there.
And that's just a total of 26 tons?
26.5 is the approximate tonnage.
You guys got any input on it?
I'll make a motion that we accept the bid from Kunchek for $70.80 per ton for 26.5 tons delivered for a total of $1876.20.
I'll second. Motion been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have a pre-construction meeting that was scheduled for tomorrow in reference to the Hells Bend project with contractors and KDOT and engineers. This is being moved out to the 11th, simply for scheduling purposes. Again, it's a pre-conference. We did get the railroad permits and bids. I got confirmation that those were received. I haven't got those signed documents back yet, but I did get confirmation that all of that was received and that we are ready for that meeting. But that will take place later on in the month. In the coming weeks, we're going to need to have discussions, and I'll be working with Jesse before those discussions and get some numbers out to you on capital equipment and capital outlay for not only the road, but for noxious weeds, the park, and other departments. The biggest one is obviously going to be the road department and the numbers on it. But we'll be trying to get that out as soon as we can to you.
after watching last week's meeting, my question to you is, do you want me to reach out to Lacey and Pleasanton and work with them and their representatives on the compact issues and try to bring something back workable to you in that discussion?
What do you guys think?
I think that's the way to go.
Well, we're about having to have to go back to everybody if we change anything.
We are.
Yeah.
But negotiate with them and figure out how it's going to be that way.
It's annoying to me. I don't think there's any negotiation. We're trying to get a contract in place. We're not trying to make anybody's life harder. We're just trying to get a contract in place. So I don't understand what the big deal is. We're not here trying to mess up their budgets or anything like that.
I think from what I saw and the confusion, I think if you give me a week or two, I think I may be able to bring something back to you and be able to work something out. I'm not asking to do any approvals, just to bring you a workable document and do what I can to try to answer some of their questions and work it out and bring it back to you for your approval.
I'm good with that.
I am too.
We had a pre-bid meeting scheduled for tomorrow on the landfill. This meeting's going to go forward online. The purpose of the meeting is to pretty much promote, stimulate contractors and get the bidding process started. It'll also identify some of the changes in the legal documents and paperwork that need done, one of which is some backfill and dirt needed from the area because some of the dirt in our operation or the landfill itself may not be what we need to do the elevation on that cell. So we're going to have some healthy discussion about it. Everybody's going to try to come up with the end solutions. The contractor's going to try, or the engineer's going to try to put everything in writing so that it's out to the contractors and get the contractors to get as many bids as possible to us. I think the whole process is moving along. I think it's just a part of the process that he's trying to stimulate more bids in. I have a park report, but I haven't been able to go through all of it. Most of it has to do with Evergy. There's still about 30 trailers there for the outage. Some of the guys are starting to pull out. The park's coming in the coming weeks to speak to you, but I'm not going to go through the grass. We're sourcing the grass locally for cost, but as far as the peat moss and the other erosion control, I'm going to work with Kira and see how much of this is not only necessary, but how much we should do in order to keep that new dirt work in place.
On the lagoons.
Yes. So I don't think we've got a lot of money to spend here, but what money we're spending in order to keep what we've done in place and not have it silt down into those lagoons that we've got done, and we don't want to fill back up.
We've talked a lot about the swimming, and we talked about placing a sign there, or swim at your own risk. I mean, that's been a whole ordeal. Where are we at on that?
As far as the swimming, the last thing we had was Evergy told us to get a hold of Wildlife and Parks and ask them about the engineering and whether or not what was acceptable to them, and then move forward from there. Once I have contact, and I will be doing that this week with Wildlife and Parks. Once they tell me what's acceptable, I will put a written document together and I will try to get the first blush to you probably next week, letting you know, not a design, not just what we're planning to propose to Wildlife and Parks in Evergy.
Right. I mean, because it was never talked about any kind of engineering or anything from the get-go, and then we kind of threw those words in there and everybody got mixed up about it, right?
Well, they originally told us about erosion control and other things that they wanted as part of it, but it was implied but never said. So at this point, they're telling us if Wildlife and Parks will accept it in the format that you're going to give it, then let's drive on. So when I reach out to them, if they tell me that an engineer is not necessary, that if you come up with a plan,
I think we should just come up with a plan and submit it to them. And I mean, let's skip these steps. It's been going on forever. Let's just submit a plan of how we want to do it and go forward with it.
if you want me to put the first blush of that together to you next week, then I'll hand that over to you next week.
Don't you guys think? I mean, if we keep asking Evergy and the wildlife, it's just going to keep being pushed down the road, right?
I don't have a problem presenting what we're looking to do to them. So I guess we can make that our next step.
I'm good with that.
Then I'll bring it to you next week and have what we are proposing or an outline of that we're proposing to Wildlife and Evergy for next week. We also have noxious weed capital outlay that we'll be doing here in the next week or two for capital equipment and capital outlay. And the only thing I had left on the list, because it was a short week, was on the way to work this morning. My take-home vehicle was struck in the side by a doe. So I've got damage on the front end, and I will be making the report as soon as I leave here to the sheriff's department, who I've already contacted this morning when the incident happened.
Okay.
Questions for me?
I don't think I have any.
Have any?
Oh, thanks, Sean.
Yeah, that's been approved by Darren. He's going to deal with it.
We have a dumping assistance. Can you check with Lloyd's? See assistance application on it as well. We have dumping assistance for 116 Elm Street, Blue Mound. Darren has already gone over this and approved it as well, but is not here, obviously, to go over it with you. He signed off on it and recommends 100% assistance on the project.
When you say assistance, what do you mean? Just dumpster fees or us tearing it down, driving?
No, waiving the dump fees. Waiving the dump fees only is what I'm seeing here.
Is the city tearing it down, or is it?
It's actually on the ground already. Motivated people around Gardner who bought that property, that problem with drug use, if you will, in and out of it over the years. And it came down, the guy finished building back on the property. So,
Get it cleaned up. I'll make a motion that we approve the dumping assistance application for 116 East Elm Street to waive the dumping fees on the material.
I'll second it.
Motion been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 David, I'll just pick a copy of that up from you after you're done with it, or?
I don't think that there's a,
We'll go ahead and take it. That's. Is there anywhere I need to sign or?
I don't, there ain't even a place for me, but I'll just put, right, send down. You got something else, Jesse?
Yeah. Want to make sure we're clear. We're okay to start ordering cement to start working on the 900 road project. I can start mobilizing equipment over there to,
I think, I think we should get, I'd like to see what what the cost is to date, what we spent and what we're projected to spend after this.
okay.
And I would really like to talk to, the on-call
Chad.
engineer in person before we start. That's just me. I mean,
Okay, no, I just want to make sure because I had guys moving stuff and I put them on hold for a second until I come in and make sure we're good to just wait.
I'd like to.
Good with waiting until we get it.
Okay, just want to make sure on that.
Just know exact figure what it's gonna take.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And could you, part of the cost, could we get how many man hours we have with our people out there and? all-
Yes. Yep, sure can.
All right.
Thank you, Jess.
David, you got anything else?
I do not.
All right. Let's see. I think we have a Civic Plus presentation at 11. We can open for public comment. Anybody have a public comment? Good. All right. Well, if we don't have nothing else, you guys want to just recess until 11?
It's fine.
All right. I'll make a motion that we recess until 11.
You have any public comment?
Appreciate you guys.
Yep.
Getting rid of some crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that comment. All right. Then I'll make a motion we recess until 11 p.m. Then we'll come back and do the Civic Plus presentation.
I'll second it.
Or AM, sorry. Motion been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Hand me that payroll sheet.
Oh.
Thank you, Danny.
we'll go ahead and call the meeting back in session. 11 o'clock, we had the Civic Plus presentation, which Chastity, you want to step up and talk to us and introduce us? And oh, you don't know nothing about it?
Hey, Danny, I've got one thing real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
We have an assistance application that we didn't get in the first part of the meeting. Sorry. It's for Linn Valley, POA. It looks like their mailbox cover got taken out. They just want the dumpster, the roll-off covered. They want assistance on the roll-off. They will pay for their dumping fees, but they are asking for assistance on the roll-off. It looks like Sean has approved it on the back.
So just the roll-off container itself?
Yes.
And Sean reviewed it and everything looks fine?
Yes. I do know that the people in Linn Valley have not had access to their mail. They've been having to go to the city for the last 3 or 4 weeks to get their mail.
You good with it?
Yes.
You good with it?
What is there with their mailbox and what's that?
So they have it's covered.
Canopy got destroyed.
Oh,
in the
Like
mail.
canopy tore up.
Yeah.
It's just wooden.
Yeah.
So construction debris.
That's what they want. Okay.
So, I mean, the mailbox itself wouldn't have been, it's metal boxes.
Sean, you got anything to add?
Right as you come in the gates.
It's just not accessible because it fell down.
Yeah, they called me on this, and then, like you said, it's just the canopy cover. They're just asking for a hopper to make it easy, and the dump assistance. The only thing above the dump assistance would be a hopper, and we run compactors and other things out there, so it's not that big an issue to run a roll off out there, drop it on the ground, and have them load it with their skid steer and go back out and pick it up. So I don't see a large issue with it as far as convenience.
All right. Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the assistance for Linn Valley Lakes POA for a roll-off container.
I'll second it.
Motion moving second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Long, could you waive the fee on the dump system?
Oh, sorry. It said they didn't want it, so that's what I read. I apologize if that's what they wanted.
It says they are willing to pay the landfill charges.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't
Okay.
get that part.
We'll get them the roll off.
We're just paying for the roll off and they're paying the dump fees. Yeah. Okay.
My bad, Chelsea. I thought that was set up to you, but who's the representative from Civic Plus? Chris, or is this, do you know anything about any of this? Yeah. You want to come up and introduce us and?
Good morning. Sorry, I've got a bit of a head thing going on. A couple weeks ago, Commissioner Johnson asked me to get in touch with Civic Plus and have them come here and talk to you guys about their product offerings. I believe David might have sent you the emails. Okay. That's what Ryan McNally with Civic Plus is here. Great guy to talk to. I've talked to him a couple times. He helped us get started with the Civic Ready notifications as well. So he'll definitely be able to answer any questions you have today.
If it's easier for you, you can come up here and sit and pull up a chair if that's easier for you. Whatever you want to do.
Whatever you guys.
thank you all for your time this morning. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving and we're back at it, aren't we?
Yep.
So, as Chris had mentioned, I worked with you guys last year on your mass notification solution here with Civic Plus, implementing that strategy to kind of get out a convenient way of communicating with the residents, as well as I'm a Kansas City guy, born and raised, so also covering the emergency alerts that we come across, right? So, in discussions with Ally, as well as Chris, we're here to just informally discuss some of what Civic Plus offers. Are you guys familiar with Civic Plus outside of maybe the mass notification piece?
No, I'm not.
No, okay. Well, quick little piece on us, right? So we've been around for 25 years. We're headquartered in Manhattan, Kansas. We have 10,000 plus customers across the United States in all 50 states. Our bread and butter has been our municipal website, design and hosting services for really the 25 plus years. Before my time here, we have expanded into a broad product suite encompassing things from digitizing, but basically think of us as a partner to help digitize services within your community, whether that's digitizing potential permits or planning and zoning efforts or renewable licenses, all the way to helping with public works to create software for citizens to report incidents or complaints related to whether that's road related or potentially nuisance weeds or different things of that nature. That's any sort of violation with code enforcement as well. Let's see here. Additionally, we have expanded our product portfolio over into a code ordinance software as well as a social media archiving. So as you can see in the handout, we're more than just websites. Just wanted to kind of share that with you guys. And, you know, it's really just to allow you guys to ask questions. If there are interests later on, then obviously I would bring in an engineer. Whether you guys want me to come back in person, I'm happy to do so, and we can stream them in or potentially even have them come in person as well.
So right now we have the mass notification system, right?
Yes, correct.
So what, I mean, with that package of Civic Plus or Civic Ready, whatever, or Civic Plus, what else can we do? Is that just a mass notification?
Yeah, correct. That is mass notification. Now, something that if you guys use it fairly frequently, so Facebook, X, anything like that, even Nextdoor, we're the only provider that is now integrated with Nextdoor. So if you guys have a fairly large social media presence and you're making those posts in that platform, you can actually integrate those pieces so we don't have to go, you know, into multiple different pieces of software in order to create those updates. They all talk together, right? And so then that way something doesn't look funky and weird on X compared to what's posted on the website, right?
Right.
Additionally, talking way above, and I'm sure that you guys will have a lot of due diligence you'll do on your end when you're evaluating website vendors. Hypothetically, if you were to choose us as a website vendor, it does have a direct integration with our website to where I call it our alert banner up top. So let's say that, what would be a good example here? Well, we just had Thanksgiving. So maybe you guys want a quick way of getting out, you know, trash service isn't available until Monday or whatever like that, right? We can do that in the mass notification backend system, but then it integrates directly with the website. So it'll come across as an alert banner as well. So kind of hits a lot of different areas where residents are, you know, maybe trying to find out information.
Okay. And we don't use you currently on like the codes and
No, not
that nature.
No, not
Don't we have something?
We got another package that, you know, we've paid for another one on the codes enforcement, but I don't remember what the name of it is.
Don't either. Let's see, on the permitting and stuff.
Yeah, permits.
So we can integrate a permit, license, and everything all through Civic or Civic Plus?
Yeah, yes, Danny. And the thing about our community development modules, there's 5 of them, right? So we mentioned permitting, licensing, code enforcement, planning and zoning, then they have fire and life safety. you're not at all required to get all of that, right? It's kind of an a la carte situation where, you know, I talk to so many communities where, hey, maybe we only have 50 permits a year. It doesn't really make sense on the ROI to spend on that kind of money for software, right? But we have loads and loads of renewable licenses happening where it might make sense to implement stuff like that, right? So, additionally, a main advantage of, I guess, encompassing more and more Civic Plus products would be our portal, or a lot of individuals now think of it as a dashboard, right? So we log in, right? Again, this might be an example if we had a Civic Plus website, but it's certainly not required. But the more products that you have, I myself, as a resident of the county, I can log into my portal. I can see where I'm at with a dog permit. I can see where I'm at on my annual renewable license for liquor license. Or maybe I had to get one in order to throw the big party that I'm trying to throw, right? And then I also can see a list of, you know, the upcoming Christmas tree lighting event that I've subscribed to, right? So it basically allows residents to log in to see everything that they're following along with the county, right? And it stays within the website. It's not like kicking them off of the website or anything. It's directly integrated into that piece. Let's see if there's any other areas.
So you have the Open Record Act?
Yes, yeah, Danny, that's been a very popular piece. Actually, I believe we're working at the state level with the state of Kansas on trying to implement that kind of software even at their end. But yeah,
so it'd just be like, what all does that consist of? The open records, like the core request, like the public asking for records, and how does that work?
Yeah. So it's all, I guess, hosted in the cloud. And again, bear with me, this isn't one of the products that I personally cover, so I'm going to cheat a little. Yeah, all hosted within the crowd. A major piece of it is obviously tracking the FOIA requests and things of that nature. Increases the compliancy as well, which has been a hot topic for this year. If you guys aren't familiar, the DOJ passed a law earlier this year where compliance, when it comes to specifically accessibility, is the hottest topic, where they're going to kind of do a trickle effect based off of population brackets over the next 3 years. Now, you guys on the lower end of the population sides, they're going after, big, massive, huge cities and counties. But within 3 years, they're going to start doing random audits. Think of it like the good old IRS. And they're going to start evaluating websites to see if they're remaining compliant, right? Like, so when I know I'm off subject here specifically, but when we do a new website redesign build, it comes 100% compliant. The difficulty is remaining compliant, right? And depending upon either the internal knowledge within that municipality or just staff shortages might not be something that you guys have top of mind, or even the time to be able to continue running reports or on that end. So we have some kind of tools built into our system, as well as some additional options that allow it to kind of be AI enabled, right? To let us just, let's run those reports, send them to you, fix them if you want, or if you want a more hands-on approach, we have a more hands-on approach too. But yeah, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about the records requests, I can certainly get you guys in touch with some of that.
Chris, do you have one of these? Have you looked at it?
I just got it.
Any of the stuff that he's talking about, do you think, you're the computer whiz here, I'm not. And what do you think we could benefit off a lot of the stuff?
Really, it's up to you. Obviously, there's cost benefit to everything.
Right.
So, something like a core request or something would really be a clerk's office question. They're the ones that handle all that.
Like the Facebook archiving and things like that.
We've actually looked at that before.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you guys did.
We were talking about it. Do we have something in place?
You opted not to move forward with that at the time.
Is that something that you feel like that if we get our, when we get our website up to up to par and all that, that's something we need to really consider.
I'm sure you're, yeah, I mean,
What is the cost of you doing a website for us?
Excellent question, sir. So it is based off of a couple things, right? So it's population based, first off. Second piece is I will run what's called a page scrum. So that's going to scrum your current site as well as any sites within the site, I guess, right? To see how much content is out there today for migrating that over. Obviously, you already have some, you have a site and you have presence and stuff. Now, I trim the fat a little bit on that because I do know that there are maybe some old data on there, but we don't want to start completely fresh. And that's totally up to you guys on how much you would want to trim back. I typically do 25 to 30% on that. But once that report is run on my end, I can share that with you. You guys Chris may want to dive into that. Some IT teams really love that stuff. Some of them are just like, hey, we trust you and let's roll on. We do even have the ability to do like virtual consulting when it comes to content migration and content things on that nature. If you guys want help with, like, well, how much of this should we really keep and things of that nature. And it does go into the agendas and minutes as well. So anything archived on that piece is we bring all that over. So to be transparent with you, because that's just how I am, we have 3 different models for our website offering. It comes, what's standard is our lowest, most economical version. And to be honest, it's a great option. It's a templated option. There's 6 different templates that you can choose from. Now, when we think of a template is restricted, right? So we only have a couple different adjustments that we can make within that template, and that's kind of that, right? Now, you guys still will get to choose any colors, pictures, videos, all that kind of good stuff. Then our middle option is probably our most popular one, and that's our premium option because it does allow flexibility on the front end. These are all front end pieces that I'm explaining here, which allows you guys to move particular different modules. Let's say, for instance, maybe you want the calendar module front and center, or maybe you want the news event, module front and center, different things like that. You get to adjust that and not only scale to whatever size you want, but also decide where you want things to go. Ultimate is what it sounds like, our top tier, honestly, most expensive package. You dream it, we can do it. Something I should mention is I'm just a sales guy. I'm not a tech guy. I'm not anything at all remotely as detailed as Chris is when it comes to the IT side of things. So we have an art director, right? So if you choose Civic Plus for your website piece, you get an entire team, a project manager, an account manager, an implementation team that helps with the training portion piece of it all. And then the art director is literally there to help work with you guys on the front end of the website. So the pretty side of stuff, right? Again, I would say maybe 70% of our customers typically choose that premium just because it does allow for that flexibility. Up to you guys to give a ballpark range on costs. I would say year 1 costs anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000, right? Now the $50,000 range would probably including the ultimate with maybe, some very specific department headed packages for like the sheriff's department or the clerk's department, or economic development or whatever like that. That said, you guys can create your own pages. Each department can have their own pages, but if they want to have their own kind of branding within the website and their own buttons specific to, maybe economic development or something of that nature, then we can kind of alter that look and feel, I guess, right? Again, now those costs, that does include the content migration I'm mentioning. That includes design and hosting, right? So obviously the annual recurring charges for hosting and security services, as well as training and then of course the build of the site too.
So what would we be looking at as far as an annual cost going forward?
That range would be anywhere from probably 5 to 10K, just depending on which package that you
Right.
were deciding on, and then, you know, potentially any add-ons or anything like that. And again, these are rough costs. One piece I will certainly share with you is your current Civic Plus customer, so that gives me some sway in being able to work on some costs, as well as he's directly related to my CEO, so I can shove him around a little bit and be like, hey, man, let's help out family. So
Okay.
Can you go into this recreation management? I mean, so we're looking into a software right now for one of our lakes here in the county,
oh, cool.
about, you know, reserving sites and things like that.
Yep.
I mean, what can you guys offer on that?
Yeah, good question. So, first thing I should mention is that we do have a built-in module within our website system currently, right? That allows you to reserve pavilions, different things like that, even accept payments. Now, it's a more basic version of, you know, maybe think of something maybe from Tyler or OpenGov or other software companies out there. If you're wanting more of a robust system that allows like maybe integration with internal POS systems and different things like that, so people walking into you know, office there into the rec building, I guess we'll call it, then you might want to look into our rec platform to kind of, you know, maybe kind of help with a little bit further capabilities on that. Again, unfortunately, that's not another product that I cover a lot on or cover myself, but yeah, give you an idea. That would be, I think maybe you might want to look at seeing what that I guess demo would look like just on our rec platform, if that's above and beyond compared to, or maybe even just see what's included in the website piece. Sometimes that's a good enough fit. I don't know what you guys are trying to accomplish on your, you know, with a rec software. But yeah, we have a free option, and then we have a specific rec platform designed specifically.
Be mostly reservations for cabin or camping.
Honestly, you probably get away with the free version in the website, if that's what the main use would be for that.
That's the two things. Wouldn't that be right?
Yeah, that's what, go ahead.
So currently on the website now, people can renew their tags, they can pay their taxes currently on the website. So that's what you're implying is currently included with the website. If we wanted to break down and say, had a facility like a rec center, where they wanted to rent the gym or wanted to, you know, whatever, that's what you're talking about, this recreation management would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, we've already got some free components that would be available to us to continue to do what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay.
Well put.
One thing that I want to talk about is our notification system. We have that with you guys right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been trying to, maybe it's some marketing on our end, but how many do we have signed up for that now? Do you know? You don't know?
Well, last time we checked, there was 44.
44. Okay. It's not a lot.
No. And so
Yep.
would the website help with that? I mean, because if you look back there, you see we have like a code or
A QR
a
code.
QR code that you
I
can.
was gonna bring in one of those. So, okay.
Isn't that what that does?
Does.
over there?
So we've got those posted at all of our,
Do you guys have any flyers on top of that? Yeah. Okay.
I think I can't remember who does the health department, maybe.
I didn't know that. So I think it's just lack of information being put out there. I'm not really sure. But, you know, I think we can start with places and reaching out to every school district, reaching out to, again, every business. I think if our website, I just signed up this weekend personally. It is the very first thing on our website.
Yeah.
But it's not very catchy look to it, I guess. And I don't think it gives a great explanation of what it provides for the use of it. So I think, again, you know, when we can start working into this new website, that will help as well. I just don't think it's out there. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't do this job, so.
can show you guys an example. Connect to the internet here. I just connected Linn County Public.
Yes.
Oh, what's it now?
Linn County, all lowercase, all run together.
Okay. Are you guys familiar with Emporia, Kansas? I know it's not a county, but.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know where it is.
Yeah, look, that's all I wanted to know. Okay, so. If you guys want me to.
Do they use you for their website?
They do, yes. And they have the ultimate package, right? So just so you're aware of that. And I'll be happy to provide you guys many different examples that are, across the board, standard, premium, and ultimate, if you would like me to do so. But on their homepage, they have literally one of their buttons designed alerts and notifications. The thing I wanted to share with you is just how they have it worded. I think really helps residents understand what comes with it. Now, again, keep in mind that they have our website package. So this Notify Me is a free module included in it. Not that I want you guys to cancel existing Civic Plus products, but that module itself might be enough for what you guys are needing to do. I don't know if you guys are responsible for like the national weather alerts on your end at the county, or if that's something the state covers.
Well, I like our fire
Like the
department.
fires already has
They
that.
have their own free notification, I believe, or something like that, Chris, right? So, so I mean, it's kind of just for the, like our department heads to notify, things they have going on, like the health department's going to be at a school or something. And
Yeah, so it might be something, and that's up to you guys, certainly. I'm gonna take a knee here. So if you notice on the Notify Me, that's mentioning like bid postings, calendar events, jobs as well. So there is a jobs module built into the website platform. There's 40 plus modules built into it. So it's kind of, you probably wouldn't use all of them, but as the community grows, as you guys grow and adopt more and more digital services, there's stuff out there for you guys to use and adopt, right? The Civic Ready platform kind of shows more so like on office closures, or as I mentioned with trash pickup, either delays or concerns on that issue. Boil water orders, right? So the Civic Ready platform is GIS located. So an example for that would, it's usually derived more around emergencies, but it can also be used for a major notification platform, right? But if it's something that you're not actively using that much and those emergency pieces are already being covered at a different level, it might not be worth the cost on that, honestly. Just being transparent again with you guys. So that's just a cool way of how they're kind of mentioning it there. And, kind of a little bit deeper on the app. I will mention, obviously, if we got rid of the mass notification piece, there's no app with the Notify Me module. Now, residents get to sign up and subscribe for whatever that they want to be notified on, right? So we're not going to be sending them out an email or a text message. It can be blasted on the website, but a resident would have to be signed up to get a notification for a bid for terrible with this stuff, but whatever bid. You know what I mean? So it's not going to go to me if that's not something that I necessarily care about, right? So they're a good example of, kind of how they've separated, what a resident might use each one for, and then they, I believe, link out into like a sign-up page. Yeah, so. I don't apologies, I did not look at when your renewal is on your mass notification, so I don't know if you have already done that. And we're good through the next year. If so, my suggestion would be, one, I can help get you guys in touch with the account manager to kind of help come up with some creative ways to market it, as well as helping you guys integrate it with social media platforms to kind of get that out on that end as well. And you can implement that QR code directly on those as well to kind of help with hopefully driving more signatures. Yeah.
We have our, like we talked about our like our CUPs and things like that, permitting. We just got a software. I don't know if we just got it. Chris, you're familiar with that, aren't you? What's it called?
Cloud permit.
Cloud permit.
Mhm.
Is that something? Because we have, what do we have? We have our CUPs. What we're going to try to integrate in with that?
Our burial permits.
These burial permits. That's what it was.
Yeah, we can do any and all permits. Again, we're different. It's similar in the aspect to where, you know, whatever permits, but then we create workflows, right? So let's say, again, I'm doing a dog permit or whatever it might be there. I fill out that information via our portal. Then it would go over to, let's say, you, and that department you can have multiple people to in case, you know, maybe you become ill or you're just out of the office, you know, or vacation. We don't want to stop the process, right? And then it kind of goes through a workflow system, and then you guys get to determine what parameters, you know, for that specific permit or license or whatever it is. Holt, I didn't get 2 forms of identification. That resident doesn't get to continue to go forward. You can send an email to them or call them or whatever you prefer on that. It does allow for online payments, right? Like if we're digitizing that process as well, you can digitize it completely, allow them to make those payments. Now, if they do come into the office, we do have a piece within the software as well to allow you to print a receipt as well, right? So we can make sure that it reconciles with finance too.
Like
Otherwise,
the online payments, do you take a portion of those?
no, actually, we have a bunch of different processing, I guess, vendors, I'll call them. But the one that we recommend actually puts the fee back onto the resident versus you guys absorbing that fee. We have 7 different ones that do it that way, but our recommendation with that would be to pass that along to them, as that's, you know, a typical practice when we're paying something online, right? For you guys not to incur that cost.
So will that software like notify you if like a CUP is coming up for like renewal? Will it pop up and?
Yep. So it will, if I myself had just, you know, December 2nd of last year, you know, you can have it maybe 30 days, 60, whatever you guys need it to be for a notification to go out via email.
So what does that cost as far as for the codes enforcement, the permitting licensing?
Yeah, so let's see here. That again is population based as well, but
When you mentioned, that.
Chastity, I'm getting emails. I'm so sorry. Can you step up to the microphone? Sorry. The citizens can't hear you.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I should have been doing that.
The question I have is when you mentioned the ultimate was roughly $50,000, does that include any of these other components? So each one of these is an additional cost?
Yeah, those
Okay.
are separate products outside of the website. That's why I'm mentioning there's so many modules built in the website that there might be some of these specific additional products that you don't necessarily need, that
Right.
it does enough to accomplish what you're needing to do
Okay.
day to day. And then that can be something that can be determined down the long road is that, you know, hey, well, you know, maybe we do need to investigate a rec platform. That's, we're building a new site or something to that nature, and we need more than what that's offering. Now, that said, our website platform does not have anything in there for permits or licenses or anything specifically. It has a form center, so it's unlimited forms. You build as many digital forms as you can dream of, but it's just capturing that information, and and then it goes off into whatever email that you have designated for that department, right? So then it just kind of is probably a typical process where here's a PDF, you can print it off and you guys fill out it in your whatever system, you know, maybe Excel or whatever you might use on that.
How is the one we have now, Chris, I mean, as far as the permitting? Do you know?
You mean the cloud permit product?
Yeah, the one we're using now.
I mean, I know Darren and there's 2 or 3 different options at the time, and that was the one that we used, and he seems to like it a lot. They've been obviously going through all the implementations past year, so he's put a lot of time into that.
And please don't think I'm in here to muddy the waters.
No,
It's just informational and, you know, hey, competition's good, right? That's what business is. They're good at what they do. My goal here today was to just let you guys know that we're more than just a website company, right? Like Cloud Permit covers that. That's cool. But we have all these other pieces that all integrate directly together. That being said, we have APIs. I can integrate with Cloud Permit on our website system. So you don't have to have our thing. The difference would be is that portal or that dashboard I mentioned, to where they're not going to be able to log in there and see that information because that's not a direct link into that.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. We have you guys at 9,500 roughly population.
Yep.
Now, Jim, if you don't mind me calling you Jim, please know that I don't know if it's going to change come January, right? I don't get to make that say, unfortunately. But give you an idea, there is a one-time fee to establish and create the software, right? So that's at $2,000 per module, right? The renewable cost would be looking at about $4,000
Per year.
Yes. Mhm. Which again, I compete with Cloud Permit pretty frequently. We're a little less expensive than them, but that would be something that your team would have to determine if it would make sense to, you know, look into anything like that. Let's see, any other pieces? Yeah.
You know, it's kind of hard for us to make a determination of what we actually need. You know, we don't know all the ins and outs and all the software.
Well, basically what we're wanting is a website, right? For sure. I mean, we want to know exactly where we're starting. Is that be fair to say?
Correct.
We want to know what it's going to take to get the website.
Yeah. It's something I should mention too. That's also, I don't know when you guys are, you know, when your budget cycles are and those kind of things, and more importantly, when you would want it live, right? So if we're going to standard, it's a little bit quicker because there's not as much front end development work when we're talking about creating the website, right? That's probably at a 4-month timeline would be my estimate. Other than that, it would probably a premium on average is a 6-month. I even think we could probably do an ultimate around that same time. The only time it extends to like 8 to 9 months or more is when I'm talking to communities that have a large amount of content that we're migrating over, and then maybe they just they want a lot of complexity on the front end of it too. That's gonna you know, or maybe they're doing a drone video or something and they don't have that drone video yet, and so they're doing a competition to put a drone video on there within the community. So yeah, but certainly that's what we are here to do. Is, you know, I'm not pushing everything on you. It's whatever is best for you, and we're here to grow with you, right? So that's probably why we have so many customers and why we're one of the leaders in GovTech. I mean, you know, honestly, you'd probably think of us, Granicus and Tyler, when it comes to government technology these days.
What other counties around us here in Kansas have you that use you for their website?
I would like a breakdown of who uses your standard, maybe who uses your premium, and who uses your ultimate. So we can look at the
I'll have
different
to look into
options.
that.
Okay.
You know?
I'll send you an email then and ask about that.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. I know that we have a lot of them. And honestly, I personally think that the standard would fit the bill on most ends when it comes to county level. It's just informative, right? And we don't need all the bells and whistles on the front end of stuff. It's more about functionality on the back end. You know, a city might need, you know, a little bit of that different, you know, front end customization and stuff like that. So again, just to be transparent with you guys, more of our counties go with the standard option just because it doesn't financially make sense for them to go that other route. And they might benefit from using an additional piece of the software that they can allocate money towards that versus spinning it all on a website, right?
Right.
What do you guys think? I think that this is something that, like Chastity, she's new here and she's trying to help take over the website, and Chris is he's managed it, and I think Chris has a lot on his plate, so.
Yeah.
Trying to just line things out here and get everything flowing nice and easy, and I think that, how can we do that, Chris? I mean, there's just so many different departments. I don't know. Us three don't really know which department can benefit from what software programs you guys.
Certainly, yeah. Well, what I can do too, if whoever wants to send me an email or send it to them, I can send you what's called an informal proposal, right? So we do formal proposals for you guys, of course. But that's just, to me, it's a PDF version of a demo. So it's not as fun. You don't actually get to get into the back end and see how it is to create content and to manage pages and so on and so forth. But it's a deep dive into what that would be, right? It gives you all the information on the widgets, those modules, what they do. It even provides some examples. Personally, I will send you other examples because I think that needs to be updated and they're old sites. So maybe don't look at those. It also talks about like integrations and timeline and implementation, security and hosting, like what's standard included and above and beyond of like additional add-on options if you desire to do so. But that's usually a good start that can be shared internally throughout all departments and let people kind of look into it. And then ultimately, if you're interested, setting up a demonstration, and whether we do 2, 3, or 4, it doesn't matter, but I think getting other departments to sit in on that, so then they can see, maybe there's specifically, again, we have a module built into it specifically for agendas and minutes to build those packets out within our website. So maybe the clerk wants to sit in on that, but maybe the sheriff's department wants to see something about the jobs module that's included. Or maybe economic development wants to see something about the calendar or the events, or, we can usually go through like 5 or I'm going to say probably 5 of them in a demo to get a good enough feel of how it is to, make that content. And then, we can expand from that. So, I mean, it's your guys' pace. But that's typically what I recommend is any and all departments that want to learn about it. That's what I recommend so they can see what is included and what will help them day to day. And then kind of, going from there.
You guys good with that? Chris, you good with that? Chastity?
Okay.
Well, I appreciate you coming in. Like I said, it's a lot. We don't.
I know.
It's hard for.
I had a presentation ready. I'm like, man, that's just so much and it's confusing. Let's just talk about it.
No, we appreciate that.
Yeah, no, and presentations are boring. So I'll last thing I'll share with you too. Again, I'm just a sales guy. I'm not an IT guy. I'm not a tech guy. The great thing about our backend system that we hear every single time, 100% of the time, is how easy it is to use. It's drag and drop. There's no coding involved. There's none of that. Again, myself can create content on the backend and make it look pretty and easy. And again, there are some parameters on the backend too that are established to allow departments to only choose specific fonts or text or colors and different things like that. So there's symmetry across the board, right? So it doesn't come off looking all wonky if, one department's setting something up and another thing. Additionally, within that piece, you usually have maybe 1 to 3 super administrators involved in that if you desire to do so, you know, said department sets up a page, a new piece of content. It goes over to, you know, maybe Chris or maybe not. It's up to you guys on how you want to do that. For him to have a yay, like, okay, we can go on ahead and approve that and go forward, or you don't have to do that. And you can just say, you know, hey, autonomy, we trust you. We know that you're only going to get to choose this, that, and that, and you guys create it as you go.
All right. Well, Chris, do you want to be the contact, or I guess both of you want to be the contact on this? All right. Okay. You good with that? Chastity, are you good with that?
Sure, sure.
I think it's a good starting point, and if you guys want to set a meeting and kind of go over options and try to help us figure out what exactly we can benefit from it.
Where we're at, where we need to get.
Yeah, and I'm more than happy to come in person as well any other time. I live in Lee Summit. I'm not very far. I'm a Kansas boy, born and raised, so I just moved to Missouri. Sorry, but yeah, it was a cost thing.
Right.
Tragic.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming in, and yeah, I think we're at a good start. Or like I said, we're getting ready to redo our website and things like that, and been trying to figure out how to implement that more into the county. But if we can utilize the website and get just as many followers, I think that's a good option too. So
Yeah, and if anyone wants help on that piece, on getting connected with someone to help with marketing strategies or implementing the social media accounts and stuff that you have, let me know. I don't personally do it, but I'll hook you up with the person that does, so we can get started on that. At least I don't know if you guys have already renewed or not, but I want you to get the most out of it as possible. And if you just renewed, that's the goal, and to see if we can uptick that subscription base for, to make sense for the following year, right? If not, then no harm, no foul. We tried, and toodles.
all right. I don't think I have any more questions, you guys.
I don't know. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure meeting you.
You too.
All right. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just whenever you get a chance. Whatever.
All right, Chris, thank you for getting that all set up and
Thanks,
coming here
Chris.
and with us. Janet, do you have anything? All right. Well, nice to see you. Thanks for hanging out.
Wanted to hear about this presentation.
Think it's something your office can benefit from? We'll try to get some demos in here, and we'll try to figure something out and see if it's a good option for us. So, are you guys here for any certain reason, or
Yes.
you public comment, or
Ryan, for the Courthouse Foundation,
you're what?
for Ryan and Ryan, Courthouse Foundation.
Oh, okay.
Oh, are they on there?
Well, we don't have you on the schedule, but have you guys visited us with us before, right?
Yes.
I think I walked through it with one of you guys, maybe.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay. Well, you want to come up and I'll give you, you guys good with giving them?
Yeah.
You guys want to come up to the podium and state who you are and what you have going on? We'll listen.
Nice to see you again, Danny.
Yeah.
How you doing?
All right.
So, shook Jason's hand, Jim. So two years ago,
Thank you.
we were here and we inspected the courthouse foundation on it. And,
Your product's the little, it's like it hangs from the ceiling. It's a ball or something, right?
yeah, well, for your courthouse, I estimate we're gonna put in our largest unit. And what it does is it discharges all the moisture out of the walls.
Right.
And in that process, it also draws out the excess salts out of the wall so the disintegration will cease.
Yeah.
And that's what you guys are running into down there, I'm sure. Given the, you've seen the report, but you should probably see the pictures. The printer didn't work so great. Let's look at these ones. It's just examples of the disintegration and destruction that's occurring in the foundation, and the hygrometer there, the readings on it are some of the highest readings of any inspection we've done. On that particular hygrometer, it goes up to 200. A human body reads 160 on it. So we're putting it on your walls and it's reading the same.
And we're 60% moisture.
Yeah, so you look at masonry and you have those kind of moisture readings. Obviously, there's extremely excessive amount of moisture present. And that wouldn't be such a big deal, but it has salts with it. Salts are doing all the destructive work. And then the moisture on top of it is also causing health concerns for your building. You don't actually have a healthy building because with moisture present, all kinds of stuff can start growing that you don't want in your building.
So I get, my question was here, because I'd walked through with you guys and I was extremely interested in your product. My concern was, because I own a masonry foundation company, a masonry and a foundation recovery company.
Right.
So I kind of do the same thing. But so when I see your product, I think that there's always, we're not taking care of the initial problem, which would be water infiltration into the building itself. So my first thought is a foundation guy would be, you know, I can't remember what the price of this thing was. I don't recall, but I asked myself, why would we put this product inside, still allow all this infiltration of water and everything to come into the building and continue to let our wall decay because there's always going to be water if we're not taking care of the initial problem, which would be getting waterproofing the exterior of the foundation and getting the water away from the building.
Fair enough.
I mean, that's just what my concern was.
Sure.
That's a good concern. It's valid.
Yeah, it is. The challenge you have, and I'm sure you know, since you do foundation recovery on these old buildings, especially with a sandstone foundation.
Right. It just comes, yeah.
Yeah, it's the stability of your foundation. You start excavating around the outside of that building could collapse on you.
Right, 100%, yeah.
So with our system, you know, below grade, we still dry out masonry all the time. We have a list of courthouses and counties you guys can call and talk to the commissioners themselves. We've been doing this for our 9 years now.
Yeah.
So when you have a foundation wall like that could be, you know, 18, 24 inches thick, I think on yours, it might even be wider than that. It might be closer to 30. That wall that's on the other side next to the dirt, that may never, ever dry out. But our system will ensure that the inside of that wall fully dehydrates. And then when you do have any type of leakage coming through during heavy rains, you guys are going to be able to see where that water is coming in because it stands out like a sore thumb because everything else is dry. So, you know, a lot of these courthouses, they wanted to do what you're talking about, but it's so expensive.
Right.
No, we're coming in at 20 grand to guarantee that we're going to remove all the moisture out of your foundation.
And we'll keep it out as long as our system stays in the building. The water that's coming up underneath the building, bringing the salt in with it.
And that's the big one where what you're talking about, you guys can't do even if you did try to excavate. You can't stop the water coming up underneath.
That's what we have.
Stop. So, I mean, you
So
guys,
it comes to that, that's where, you know, in my mind, I would excavate below, 4 feet away from the building all the way around, and I would go below the footing, or it's not gonna be a footing, it's just gonna be some, the slab, we'll just say the basement slab.
Right.
And, put your perforated pipe and that water table would come up, it'd catch it in that pipe, and then it'd go inside the building, then you'd kick it out away from the building as far away as you could.
well, that certainly helps.
So,
That makes it a complete system.
Right. And that's my concern. And I know when I think of your product, and I don't know a whole lot about it, but I walked through it and I was very, very interested in it. It's a system that it's like the last resort kind of, right? I mean, if you can't dig up the outside of the building, this is what you're going to have to do, right?
It's actually the first step.
You think so?
Absolutely.
It's the missing step in renovation of a building. It's the water coming up underneath the building. How do you handle that? It's coming up underneath. It gets into your walls, into your.
It literally is the first step, Dave.
Yeah.
Because once we've drawn all the excess moisture out of the masonry, then you can see what the other problems actually are. then you can actually correctly assess it.
So, and I guess that's where my confusion was, because, because in my mind, my first step would be to get put my perforated pipe at the water table below and catch that, with the holes directed down, catch all that water so that it doesn't come up above the slab and goes into a sump pump hole and kicks it out. Obviously, that's a complete system. So that's always been my first thought. So that's why, I don't know a whole lot about this.
Tied together, that is the perfect system. Our system inside the building, which ensures that the moisture can never hang on. That's what we're doing. We're breaking the bond of the moisture with the masonry, so it can't hang on. Where before, without our system in there, the masonry is a sponge. It just sucks it up and holds it there.
And then we have it painted, and it's.
Yeah, and then you paint it and put a waterproof paint on it, and you literally trap and seal that water in there. You guarantee the destruction of the wall.
Yeah, I know.
So we release the moisture. You can, if you want, if you guys have the money to come back and then put in a French drain or tile like you're talking about, perfect. That is the perfect whole system when you're talking about below grade thing like you're building.
We're talking to 3 courthouses right now. All of them in Missouri. One building spent $800,000 putting a French drain in around the building, and they still have rising damp coming up underneath it. And it's been, I think, 4 years since they completed that. We did an inspection of the building just while they were doing that 4 years ago. The water coming up under the building was continued to come up.
They thought they handled it. They thought by doing that, this is our solution, and their basement's still wet.
Yeah.
400 grand later. And they could have put in our system for 25 grand.
Yeah.
So that's the upfront cost on like our courthouse would be 20.
Yes. And
Don has the recent.
We made that estimate to you in December of 2022, and we're going to stay with that. And there's no cost after you put it in. There's no cost for electricity.
There's no annual cost, no.
That's right,
sir.
It's a set it and forget it. It's one-time fee up front.
So when you're saying that as long as we keep the equipment in there, as long as we don't remove it, is what you're saying?
That's right.
Right. It'll be there as long as your courthouse is there.
That's right.
We haven't been in business for 80 to 100 years, but we believe that our system will last at least that long. There's no moving parts. There's no friction of any kind whatsoever.
But we have,
So where does the water go when it enters your system?
so it doesn't enter our system. Our system just releases it from the walls. It's, we're discharging electromagnetic energy out of your walls, and that's what's holding the moisture in your walls.
Okay.
So the water that's closest to the surface of the wall is going to evaporate, what it's doing right now. When you look at those pictures of the disintegration that's this high from the floor, the water is soaked up the wall, and the water evaporates out to the surface and brings the salts with it, deposits on the surface. That's when you see the salt after.
And you're going to come back in and take readings?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how we actually show you guys that we dry out the building is I take core samples. I go on 3 to 4 inches in a few key parts of the basement walls there. I take those readings, I weigh them, dry it out, I reweigh it. The dried sample, so that difference between the wet and dry sample tells me the percent of moisture that's in your wall. We come back a year later to the same series of tests, and again at the 3-year mark, so that we can show you that we dried it out.
So if we have a 36-inch stacked stone limestone wall, how do we, obviously if we're taking care of the moisture 3 or 4 inches within the, interior wall, that still means the exterior part of that wall, the another 30 inches is still decaying hardcore because of water infiltration, right?
No.
No.
We will handle that whole wall, except probably the part of it close to the dirt.
And that's if that stays wet, so say you have a year where we have a drought, our system will dry that wall all the way out to the dirt. Now you get soaking rain and all that dirt saturates and it soaks in like 2, 3, 4 inches in that wall. Yeah, that could get wet again. But we literally dry out the whole wall.
Yeah, and we keep it dry.
Right.
It's a technology that's amazing. It's invented by a guy.
Across seas, wasn't it? Yeah, I think I've looked into I've done a lot of research. Well, not a lot, but I've done some research on it, and I walked through it with you guys.
Yeah.
So, here's a stat for you guys. Every single courthouse we've ever put it in, they would not let us take it out. They've never, ever asked for their money back. And we can call any one of them. The closest ones to you guys right now are Anderson and Woodson. And then we're in Bates County, Vernon County, and Barton County to your east.
So what kind of warranties on your equipment?
Lifetime.
And
That thing ever stops working, or you guys ever notice that you have rising moisture, damn musty smells coming back again, we'll come back and replace the equipment.
I mean, as you can tell with the reading, you've been down there, we do definitely have a moisture problem between the basement and the first floor, which is causing the floor to rot above.
That's right.
Yeah.
This system is gonna benefit that building like you can't even believe. It's
Yeah.
gonna save that building.
We have, every customer that we have, every single one of them is a reference for us.
Everyone.
Every single one of them.
And not to scare you guys, but the first of the year, our prices are doubling because it's so effective. We've been so underpriced for so long that we're now moving to $6 a square foot. And that's just for the footprint, the foundation, the basement of the building. But it's literally doubling in price in 2025.
So you're holding our price, right, you said?
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
Let me get that in here. And I recorded it.
Till the end of the month. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
So these readings were from 2022?
yes.
Yes, sir. Typically, the building does not get drier.
Right.
Yeah, right. Even during a drought, the rising moisture, it's a worldwide problem. It's not just something that's local here. It's a worldwide issue that's gone back thousands of years. There's even been recordings of it for buildings that they built way, way long ago. And we're the only company in the United States that does this kind of work. We're the only ones that has this technology.
We're going through a rebranding right now. So our new company name is going to be Damped to Dry. And our slogan is Building Health Restored. Because it's not just the moisture and the salts that are disintegrating the foundation, it's the stuff that grows in buildings that are wet.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the real risk.
Yeah, we run into people that get headaches and stuffy noses and stuff when they come to work, and they complain about it, and we've put our system in that goes away. We never knew that.
We can't make those claims, but we hear about it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, we're trying, I've been personally talking to Rosin, which is a preservation company, trying to figure out a way to give us some options to maybe get some tax incentives on remodeling the courthouse and doing a bunch of things. Like we got the roof tiles need replaced, things like that. So I don't know if we can give you an answer that fast. I mean, I'm actually, my last day is the 13th of January. I didn't rerun. So I'm going to go back to the whole foundation thing. So
yeah,
full time, but
so maybe we'll be working together.
Hopefully. No, but I mean, Jason and Jim, I think it's an interesting product. I don't know a lot about it, but I walked through it with them, and the readings are correct, and there is a lot of moisture in the basement, and I think it's something that we should think about pretty hard.
Right now, we have almost 25% of all the courthouses in Missouri. We have about 14% of the courthouses in Iowa, 13% of the courthouses in Minnesota. We have a whole bunch of buildings up in South Dakota.
And only about 5% of Kansas. You guys are like pulling teeth around here.
Yeah. We're scheduled to do the capital of South Dakota either next year or in 2026. The legislature's going to.
And we've already inspected the State House up in Topeka. They're interested.
Yeah.
So.
And they have a serious issue.
Boy, they got
Holy
big
crap.
problems.
That beautiful courthouse.
So,
That beautiful building.
What do you say we talk to Anderson and Woodson County and see what their experience is with it?
Absolutely.
And try to discuss this again, just the three of us at the next meeting, and see what
I'm good.
what we want to do.
I'm good with that.
You all right?
And, you know, talk to Vernon and Bates and Barton too.
Yeah.
Got you guys surrounded.
Do you guys have your testing, applications with you?
I was just thinking we were gonna be.
You guys, after the meeting, would you guys want to walk through and?
Yeah,
do another
sure.
testing?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've got it on the car.
Okay. You guys mind if I walk through with them?
No, that'd be
I'm just
fine.
very interested. So,
You guys want to come with?
no. Well,
Welcome to.
I mean, if you guys want to, we could recess.
I don't have time right today.
Okay.
I don't really
But I can, I would like to walk
go
through.
to Wichita.
Okay, fair enough.
So, I could walk through with you guys. I'd like to see what the readings are now compared to 2 years ago. So.
Okay,
Sounds good.
sounds good.
All right. Well, we're gonna probably finish up here and I'll give you this.
Okay,
Go over there.
great.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. Yeah, good to see you again. Yeah. Nice to see you again.
Don.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think he got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I'll just meet you guys over there.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Doesn't look like we have anything else slated on the agenda.
Thank you.
Anybody got anything?
No.
All right. Well, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion to move in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Everybody's.